Half in the bag. I can't stop watching movies.
Yes, you elderly fuck. We'll be there to fix your fucking VCR already. Will you quit calling? I don't know, as soon as we can. Yeah, we'll be there. Okay, fine. Fuck.
Let me guess, Mr. Plinkett wants us to climb the mountain to get to his house to fix his VCR so he can watch his night court tape.
Yes, and I told him we'd do it because he offered us $100.
$100? I don't want to climb no mountain for no $100.
Jay, ever since we took over the shop again, nobody's come in. It's been like weeks.
Yeah.
I need money. I have a Darth Vader toaster to buy.
You already have a toaster. I got it for you as a gift for your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, but it's not a Darth Vader head toaster.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw out that perfectly good toaster and replace it with my Darth Vader head toaster. I need it. I need it! What grown, virginal, 48-year-old man-child's kitchen is complete without a Darth Vader toaster?
Well, I guess it has been a while since we paid that old man a visit.
Speaking of that...
Yes, I have.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad you got tested, Jay, because AIDS is not a laughing matter.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask if I saw the visit.
Why would I ask that? Just randomly?
Well, I said something about a visit. So we were going to pay that old man a visit. This is segue into the movie.
Oh, the new M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't see that. Why would I see that? Why would you watch an M. Night Shyamalan movie? Two irritating kids go and spend a week at their grandparents' house while their white trash mom goes on a cruise with some guy who has a hairy chest, loves short stack pancakes, and is rapidly gaining weight. Who would have thought a Walmart sales associate on the largest cruise ship in the world getting drilled by some hairy guy? Jay, should people go and visit their theaters to see A Walk in the Woods?
Is that new film with Nick Nolte?
Yeah, where he plays Santa Claus. Oh wait, that's just how he looks. Jay, your thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan's first film, The Visit?
His first film?
Yeah, I don't know, whatever it is. You can't even call it a movie. What do you think of it?
It was okay, which on the M. Night Shyamalan grading curve is pretty good. Most of the movie is kind of dull. I guessed the twists 10 minutes into the movie, so there was no tension because I knew exactly where it was going. But the last 20 minutes or so is hilarious, and I'm not sure how much of that is intentional.
I loved this movie. No, I'm kidding. I was highly irritated throughout 60-70% of this movie, and then it got good. And not good, but it got
entertaining.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
That's a good word to describe it. The kids were irritating, and some of the writing was strange, but.
Well, it has all those M. Night hallmarks of, like, the characters have these weird quirks, you know?
Okay.
Like, I was thinking of, like, the hot dog guy in The Happening. There's just a character that's randomly obsessed with hot dogs for no reason, and it has no point.
I'm not familiar with M. Night Shyamalan's movies that much to know that he has those things. And I guess...
You didn't see The Happening?
I did see The Happening, but
The Happening is hilarious.
I don't remember... Oh, it's a very funny movie. It's one of the best comedies of the last 100 years.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember like any kind of specific character quirks.
Okay.
But I guess they could be seen as like making the characters more real, like just weird kid behavior that kids do weird things and they say weird things, and kids in movies tend to not seem like real kids. But to me, it just came off irritating because the little kid raps in this.
Yeah, I did not like him. The girl I was okay with. She was like the pretentious filmmaker, wannabe filmmaker, and I was okay with that.
It was tolerable, but the kid's rapping was like made my skin crawl.
Yeah, and that was in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. He starts rapping, and I was like, oh no. But luckily, it's not too heavy.
Yeah, it's a kind of beginning and the end sort of thing. But I don't know. I was sitting there watching this, and I was thinking like the production companies at Blumhouse.
Yeah, every wide release horror movie now is a Blumhouse movie.
They were very successful with their paranormal activity movies, and something Blum is one of the producers. I'm assuming.
Jason Blum,
I don't know.
think.
But I was thinking, I'm like, this is a smart move for M. Night because I don't know how many of his last films have been horrific failures.
They keep flopping, and he keeps getting them made.
He does,
After Earth
but
was like a disaster.
either he got some advice or he thought this up himself. Why don't I just scale things back?
Yeah.
And I'm not going to have this really unbelievably crazy twist. I'm just going to do a simpler movie and then shoot it on a farm with a couple of cameras.
Yeah.
And a very low production value. And that's what people want,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
What the hell was that? I think Nana's not feeling well.
Grandmother's fine.
Nana and Pop-Up are acting strange.
I knew we were gonna have this call. They're just weird people.
Hey, why is Nana staring into the well? Hi, Pop-Up!
It's surprising from him because he seems to lack any sort of self-awareness. Like every movie he does is like this horrible mess, and he just kept making them, and they just kept getting worse and worse. So I'm assuming somebody gave him this advice, like you need to do something simple.
But I'm watching this and I'm like, oh God, found footage. It's a found footage movie. And then there's a part where, I don't know, whoever, one character, the girl has a camera and slowly panning it. And it's like that kind of like, what are we gonna see?
Yeah.
And people in the audience are like, oh no, oh no, I'm gonna see this. Something scary is gonna happen, I'm gonna get scared. And the camera's panning slowly in the dark, and all you see is the spotlight of the camera. And like,
Yeah.
there's gonna be, this way. And it's like, that's what people want.
But this isn't even really an effective found footage movie because there's opening credits playing. I thought that was weird right off the bat. We're seeing this found footage movie, but then it says like written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Like, you gotta get that shit out of your found footage film.
It's a little hybrid almost.
Well, that's the thing too, is like there's parts of it that are an edited documentary, because that's the premise, is the girls making a documentary about going to visit their grandparents for the first time. And
Yeah.
so there's like edited bits, like there's some interview stuff, but then who edited the footage? Why did they edit some of it? And some of it's more like
Yeah.
raw footage.
Right.
So it's
Oh,
kind
shit,
of
the camera's on kind of stuff.
Yeah. And of course everything looks slick and nice. It doesn't look like consumer grade cameras.
No, the girl's walking around with like a gigantic red camera with all these like wires and cables everywhere. Yeah, the premise, let's talk about the premise. You get the premise from the trailer. The two kids go to visit their grandparents and the grandparents act weird. Hey, isn't it crazy that they're acting weird?
Yeah. Something's up with these people. And right when they get there, the grandparents say, don't go in the basement, there's mold there. And that's when I said, oh, I know what this is.
Mom, there's something wrong with Nana and Pop-Pop.
They're just old.
I'm just cleaning it.
What is in the shed? Nana? Are you down here?
Obviously, there was something wrong with them. I was thinking like, I don't know, M. Night Shyamalan's known for his twists. Like, can we get into this too much or not?
We're throwing up the spoiler warning, and we're going to talk about it.
Spoilers from here on out until this time code when we start talking about our other film, which we're reviewing tonight, which you don't even remember asking, begging, and demanding that we review it. Is
Are we going to talk about Turbo
Kid?
Oh, yeah. We watched Turbo Kid last night, and I got really drunk and don't remember saying that we should talk about it on the show.
Right. So we skip to this time code to check out our review of a much better film, Turbo Kid.
Yeah.
So the kids go to the grandparents' house, and the grandparents act weird. And then me the whole time, I'm like, is this just a movie about two crazy old people who are insane? And then I was like, no, they're gonna be aliens. They're gonna be ghosts. Because they acted so strange, it almost seemed like aliens impersonating humans. Like, what's the twist? What's the twist? And then the twist turned out to be fairly simple and effective, and was set up with a couple of little clues here and there. Mainly, like the doctor comes, he's like, "Where have so and so been?" You know.
They don't know about the big news down at the insane asylum. And then he looks right into the camera.
Yes. So that's it. There's some. Let's talk about whether or not this movie is a comedy.
I am not sure.
inadvertently, it becomes very, very scary.
Would you call it a dark comedy or a black comedy?
There are elements that are intentionally funny. There's little bits here and there throughout. And a couple of times it kind of took me out because there's a couple kind of effectively creepy moments, but then it's followed up with a dumb joke. Like when they hear scratching outside the bedroom, they open the door, and it's the grandmother completely naked scratching against the wall. And it's like, ooh, that's kind of a creepy image. And then he closes the door and the kid goes, I'm blind now. And it's like, you just completely undercut your one effective moment. So there's a couple bits like that that are supposed to be funny, but the end, I don't fucking know. I have no idea how much of that we were supposed to take seriously.
You were complaining about how this doesn't accurately portray mental illness.
Yes, well, I guess the twist, if we're into spoilers, the twist is that it turns out these are not the actual grandparents. They're crazy people that have escaped an insane asylum, and
they assume the roles of a different elderly couple, the real grandparents, who go to the insane asylum to act as counselors.
Right.
And then apparently they had learned a lot about them. They knew the grandkids were visiting, and then the mother, the old lady that you see in the trailers, had murdered her children in a well or in water.
Yeah, she put them in suitcases and threw them in a well or something.
And then so she obviously went to a psychiatric hospital, and they want to, I don't know if that's her real husband or just a fellow patient, but they want to have a normal family weekend.
I think Nana's not feeling well.
Grandmother is fine. It's like somebody talking in their sleep.
What's he doing? They're weird during the day.
I was just cleaning it.
And even weirder at night?
Mom, there's something wrong with Nana and Papa.
They're just old. Bear with it for a couple of days.
Nana, you okay?
The whole premise is that it seems like they're hiding something the whole time by going about their daily routine, and maybe some crazy people do that kind of stuff. I don't know.
I guess to me it came across like I don't know, like the way it portrays crazy people is that they act normal, and the more you get to know them, the weirder and crazier they begin to act.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if they want this to be a normal weekend and they can hide the fact that they're crazy and act like normal people, why would they start to reveal the fact that they're crazy?
Yeah.
I guess you could say, well, because they're crazy, but then it's like, well, how could they suppress that earlier? It just felt very, obviously that's the movie, you have to be a slow reveal.
And the ramp up wasn't obscenely excessive. The elderly people showed crazy signs right off the bat.
Sure.
And then kind of slipping in and out of this behavior. And even at the end, they still weren't crazy until it turned out that the one girl found the dead bodies of the actual grandparents, and then it went off the rails. But
yeah,
it's a movie, and it seemed like it was done as well as you could portray a situation like this. As far as making it an entertaining horror film, it's not a realistic portrayal of events
I find
like
this an offensive portrayal of the mentally ill.
Yeah.
Offensive. M. Night Shyamalan should have known better.
This is both elderly shaming and mental illness shaming.
Mm-hmm. And shit your pants shaming.
Incontinence shaming. It's real. Incontinence is a problem a lot of people have.
It is, and this movie just makes light of it.
Also, germophobia shaming.
Oh yeah.
So M. Night, you have a lot to learn. These are what they call microaggressions.
Can you tell us what makes old people so scary?
And to see an old person's mind deteriorating, see their body deteriorating, it's funny, it's gross, it's scary, it's all those things that we.
So in addition to this being a highly offensive film, it's also boring.
Yes, up until the last 20 minutes or so, it's not terribly interesting.
Yeah, not terribly interesting. I didn't like the kids. Anna Gasteyer as the mother was.
That's not who that was.
Oh, sure it was.
Okay.
She was. There was nothing there. They pulled this emotional plot out of it about learning to deal with pain or
letting go of your anger.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's really about. Just like Signs is really about rediscovering your faith. It's not about aliens. And that actually really, like this movie, the last, like I keep saying, the last 20 minutes or so is really entertaining. And then when it feels like a natural conclusion of the movie, we fade to black, and then we hard cut to the mom, and the entire theme of the movie is spelled out for you in a scene that you want to be leaving the theater before it happens.
Wow, that was the rap scene at the end.
Well, that too, yeah.
That just deflated everything.
See, to me, that last scene with the mom deflated everything, where they let go of your anger.
Yeah.
I understand what you're doing, M. Night, but nobody cares about this shit. They care about the elderly people that are acting like crazy people.
Yeah, it was his attempt to give it a little more substance.
Yeah.
And really, all it was exploitive. Crazy elderly people. What's the thing? What's the thing in the backstory? What's going on in the house? Spooky shit. It's all just a delivery system for a creepy home video footage.
Right.
Or a couple of scary things to happen. The grandma crawling under the house and just doing wacky shit.
Yeah.
Good to get you.
Papa!
Let's make it a perfect night.
What is that? Mom, you need to come right now.
I guess we're at the recommendation because there's not a whole lot to this movie. Would you recommend The Visit?
If it was not a found footage movie, if the kids were likable, I think there was something about it too. The way it was shot, it was just like clean, crisp, perfect HD video footage. If it was just two like kind of quiet, likable kids that weren't irritating or didn't like mock the whole situation, if they were genuinely like creeped out,
Sure.
and it was shot like a very scary horror film, and that was the premise, I would have enjoyed that simple premise. It was I'm sure, I don't know if it was the Blumhouse production company, you gotta make it a found footage, that's what the kids like. I don't know if it was that.
Yeah.
It may have been, and I'm like going, why do I gotta do that? Oh, fuck it, I don't care, I made 16 flops in a row, I gotta do something. If it was that, if it was structured differently. I did not. I like the premise enough as a horror movie. Who has seen a horror movie where two elderly people are the scary monsters in it? I haven't.
Yeah.
And I thought that was fine. But the execution of it, up until the last 20 minutes, which are good, the execution of most of it is irritating and boring.
Yeah, with a found footage movie, you want it to feel realistic and believable, and this is like the most, all the characteristics, the way they talk, the way they interact is the most movie thing ever.
Yeah.
Very movie-ish, if that makes sense.
And that's all right, as long as it's entertaining.
As long as you care about the characters, and I didn't care about these kids really at all.
I don't say if I would recommend it. I probably would not. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's an okay movie. The ending really helps it. If it didn't have that quality of a wrap up, definitely wouldn't recommend it. It might be worth seeing.
Yeah, and we won't spoil the very best part of the movie. When the old man takes.
Yeah, we don't want to spoil that.
Stop! Nana, stop!
But we saw a different film, right, Jay?
We did.
What is that?
We also saw the film Turbo Kid.
I will destroy you with my Turbo Glove, the ultimate weapon against the robot threat. But to be a true hero, you'll have to save your girlfriend.
Hey, what's that in your hand?
It's a comic book.
What's it about?
It's about Turbo Rider.
That's rad.
Tell us all about Turbo Kid, to the uninitiated.
Turbo Kid takes place in the post-apocalyptic future of 1997. It's done in the style as if it was made in the 80s, takes place in the future, so 1997 is the far distant future. And it's about a kid who's a Turbo Kid. And he befriends a girl, and they go on a little adventure, and they have to defeat Michael Ironside, who looks just like Dennis Hopper in Waterworld.
Yeah, I was like, is that Michael Ironside? I heard it, I saw it in his eyes, but his voice sounded different. And he looks so old.
He's older, yeah.
I know he's old. I mean, everybody gets old, but I was like, is that it? No. is that him? No. But then I saw it was him.
That's a great story.
Around here, we like to do things with a little more joie de vivre.
Where is she? Release the girl!
This is gonna get ugly. As you may know, the situation is critical. We have reached maximum casualty levels. Who exactly are you supposed to be?
Turbo Rider.
This is it, soldier. We have to hit these sound machines with everything we've got. Find them, kill them, and leave back their heads on pikes.
I'm meeting up with an old mate. We're going straight to Zeus. What do you say? Let's roll.
Yeah, like I said, it's done in the style of the 80s. It's got a completely synth score. Lots of subtle references to 80s things. I think I heard when he lifts his battle arm in the air, is that Thundercats or something? That sound effect.
Oh, the sound effect?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it might be.
I think it was something like that. But the thing is, it's not just a nostalgia fest. It's genuinely sweet, the relationship between the kid and this girl he befriends named Apple. They have sort of a budding friendship that is well handled. You like the characters. It could have just been a completely one joke movie, but it's elevated by those elements.
Yeah, it's a post-apocalyptic thing, and it's kind of like Mad Max on BMX bikes. Like there's no gasoline.
There's no gas. Everyone rides bikes.
They're all right around on bikes, and it's self-aware enough to where it's fun, but it still has a well-constructed little story. It's very almost like all the moments in it, all the beats and tropes and ideas in it are all taken from 80s movies, down to the very dialogue and the way that it's presented.
Sure.
And it's really clever.
Yeah, well, they were smart enough to know that you can do all that, but if you don't have characters that you like, it's going to get old real fast.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you referencing something else?
Well, there's another thing called Kung Fury that people keep comparing this to. It's a 30-minute YouTube video, short film.
Hey, you got a permit for those guns?
I've got your permit right here.
I think the guy, I think it was Kickstarted or something. He raised $600,000 or something, and I don't think it was spent well. But I don't think it's a fair comparison because that's just a joke. The entire thing is a joke, and there's no real characters to it and nothing to latch on to other than, hey, remember the 80s?
Yeah, this is one of those movies that it's not ha-ha, hysterically funny. It's funny if you get it.
Yeah.
I could see a lot of people watching this and just going, this is stupid. But you really have to be on that plane, that level to understand it and get what they're doing.
Yeah.
But even still, it's still enjoyable because it's not, like you said, it's not over the top with references.
Yeah.
It does it, but it's subtle enough, and it has fun with the material because there's a lot of unnecessary gore.
I think even completely necessary gore.
Sure.
It's early Peter Jackson levels of gore.
The way we use gore in our films is not really to shock. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's more to entertain. It's like an adult version of Bugs Bunny, if you want. Mm-hmm. It's more over the top. It's closer to what Peter Jackson used to do in his earlier films, Brain Dead and Bad Taste, and so he was a huge influence.
Mm-hmm. To the point of being slapstick, which sometimes doesn't work. If you look at some trauma movies and stuff, where it's it gets old after a while, but this it's almost like the perfect punchline to a joke, where they know when to do it and when to hold back. It's just so charming. It really, the fact that it has that sort of core relationship that builds, where you like these characters and you kind of actually care. The movie is tongue in cheek, but it takes the characters serious, or as serious as it needs to, with this type of goofy material.
So Jay, would you recommend Turbo Kid?
I would absolutely recommend Turbo Kid if you are a fan of the 80s, a fan of synth music, fan of Peter Jackson's early films. What was that face for?
Peter Jackson?
Before he made them Hobbits, he made comical gore films like Dead Alive. and meet the Feebles.
Jay, we all know the Hobbit films are comical gore films.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I'd recommend watching Turbo Kid, but don't recommend it to like your friend that works in an office cubicle who likes The Hangover.
Yeah, it's not. There's no jokes. It's a very funny movie without jokes, if that makes sense.
Yes, it's funny in its execution and style and cleverness.
Yeah. There's a part at the very beginning we were all laughing, and it's him riding his little BMX bike, and he just jumps a little hill, and we were all like, yeah!
Right.
It's like, some people watching that might not even get why you would cheer a little moment like that.
Because that's what happened in 80s movies.
Because that's what happened in everything in the 80s, yeah.
So you have to operate on that specific wavelength.
Yes.
Like tuning in on a wavelength. In order to appreciate this movie. But I dare I say that average people, not to say that, it's people that enjoy 80s and gore films are either above average or below average, but a regular audience may also enjoy this because it has a cohesive, understandable plot, it has some heart, and it's fun to watch.
That was the biggest surprise for me, was the heart. That is not, I was expecting more of just a nostalgia fest. And it's like, oh, I like Apple, I like the kid, like I like their relationship quite a bit.
I wish I could have been more like the real Turbo Rider.
But you could totally be Turbo Kid.
So I think you can get this movie on Amazon. I think it's not in theaters here in the US. I really don't know.
I know it's played some festivals. Yeah. I know it's coming to the Milwaukee Film Festival.
Oh, okay.
But it is on Amazon and iTunes and stuff.
So look into where you can find it. TurboKidMovie.net.
Sure.
TurboKidMovie.gov. TurboKidMovie.com.
.biz.
TurboKid.com?
It's actually turbo-kid_movie.com.
Okay. But whatever you do, don't get confused and watch Turbo. We're not talking about that. All right, I'm all set. I got my snow gear on.
Mike, I think you're going to need something a little warmer than that. We are going to the top of Mount Everest.
Everest?
Everest.
The top?
Yes.
Huh.
That's where Plankett's house is.
Doesn't sound cold. It's not Mount Snow or Mount Cold or Mount Freezing Cold. Everest. That sounds like a tropical resort. So, based on this logic alone, I'm just going to wear these gloves.
Okay, let's go.
Mr. Plinkett will be right there. Mr. Plinkett's voice sounds a lot like a dial tone lately.
Huh.
We're going, come on.
Oh, you go first.
Okay. I'm going to document our trip just like the little girl documented their trip.
Well, make sure you bring your extension cord.
Okay.
This doesn't power without being plugged in.
Yeah, so what you're saying, Jay, is that we'll have to run an extension cord up Mount Everest.
Up Mount Everest. Yeah. We'll bring 2 just to be safe.
Yeah, maybe 3. Maybe we should bring 3! Come on. Gonna document the trip. Gonna document the trip up Mount Everest. Gonna document the trip up Mount Everest.